Let's factor this. This is a special factoring type. You could do it like this, and you'd put negative 49 on top and a 0 on the bottom because there's no x's. So you have 2 here, but there's no x's in the middle. But there's actually an easier way. This is called a difference of squares. Whenever you have two squareds, whenever you have something squared minus something squared, this is your a, this is your b. And whenever you get a difference of two squareds, the answer is simply a plus b, a minus b. So it's this value plus that value and this value minus that value, and that's simply your answer. So this is two squareds with a minus, so my answer simply is x is a, 7 is b, so x plus 7, a plus b, and x minus 7, which is a minus b. So again, this is a, this is b, a plus b, a minus b. That only works if it's actually a difference of squares. There has to be two squared values with a minus between. For instance, number 6. This is two squared values. So the same concept works. For instance, 4 is 2 squared. And this one's a little bit more difficult, but hopefully you realize 81 is 9 squared, and x is x. X squared comes from x times x. So basically, if we take 9x times 9x, that would give us 81x squared. 2 times 2 gives us that. So you have a, you have b. You can use this formula, and your answer is simply going to be 2 plus 9x, 2 minus 9x, a plus b, a minus b. It makes it really simple. This is called a difference of squares. Number 7. This looks really ugly. First of all, you look to see really big numbers. First, you see if there's a GCF, like this problem. There's nothing that goes into all those, so there's no GCF to pull out. So next, we could do number 4 and go, okay, multiply front and back. Oh, crud, that's huge. I'm going to think, okay, is there another method? Well, let's look at here. This is called a difference of squareds. Well, aren't the front and the back squared? Yeah, they are. This right here is 10x squared, and this is 7 squared. There's actually a shortcut when both the front and the back are both squareds. There is a shortcut possibly. And here's how the possible shortcut works. Is you take these two values, you take the 10x, multiply it by the 7, and we get 70x. Now, if this is half of that, and so is 70x half of 140? Yes. Since this is half of that, we can go on. Now, if it wasn't, if this was not half of that, you actually would have to go to this factoring method, which makes it really ugly. But since they're both squareds, and when you multiply these two values, and this is half of that, there's a shortcut. And here simply is the shortcut. This is your a, this is your b, remember? Your shortcut is simply a plus b, plus or minus b, because depending on if this is a minus right here, squared. So it's a plus or minus b squared. So for this particular problem, if we look at it, a is 10x, b is 7. Now, is it a plus or minus? Well, what's that? That's a minus. So that's a minus right there. So there it is. A minus b, because again there's a minus there, squared. Basically that's 10x minus 7, 10x minus 7, if you factored it. You could do this way, but this is a lot quicker. Again, that's if they're both squareds, you could jump through this route, as long as this is half of the middle. Now last one, number 8. If I was to factor this, this is actually the same exact kind of problem as number 2. It's just it has these y's. Don't let the y's scare you. The top is simply negative 8y squared. The bottom is simply going to be 2y. You basically bring the y's into the problem. Okay, don't let them freak you out. They're not that bad. What two numbers multiply to get this and add to get this? Well, it looks like to me, looks like 4y and negative 2y. When you multiply those, you get this. When you add those two, you get that. And then that's your, just like here, you got your two sides, so it's x plus 6, x minus 4. Here, it's simply going to be x plus 4y and x minus 2y. So don't let the y's scare you. You just bring them down. The x, you leave the x out, but you leave this y here. Bring that y squared there, and just do it normally. It's pretty simple. A lot like this one. It's just you have y's that kind of sometimes scare people.